Hey Libra, it's Empress Rose here. Welcome to your reading. These are general readings. Take what works, leave what doesn't. If I don't catch your storyline or wavelength here, or just if you want to, you can go check your other major placements. Over here, we're going to be doing, on the YouTube side of things, we're going to be doing oracle readings. And then if that story resonates, you can go over to Vimeo and check out the more traditional tarot spread that I'll be posting on Vimeo. It'll be a continuation of this story. All right, we have these crows coming in here. Okay, we have memory. So crows have very good memories. They remember who fed them and who didn't, who harmed them and who blessed them. They remember. So there's something here. You may be being triggered by a memory, something... It's not something you can forget. And this one has very much a focus on an alarming memory. Somebody's, remembering locations. There's something just very clear. I want to say it's alarming, but I'm also it's just these really intense memories coming up. So you may be having some sort of triggers right now of past memories. There's a sense of, this is very much solo to you. There's a sense of being solitary in this one, of being alone and remembering experiences that you've had. And it's just things that stick out. And something could be coming in and sort of triggering those influences, triggering those memories, and these memories, or these past issues or these past experiences may be having a strong influence on you right now. We also have this influence card. So normally these together, I guess just together I'm seeing that your memory, some sort of memory, some sort of past thing is really influencing how you're seeing something and how you're dealing with something. So this talks about, bad influences and just people around us really do influence us. We're very cultural creatures. Most of us have a survival instinct really to fit in, to be part of the group that we're in. So because for most of human history, we work together as groups, we survive as groups. So we're very social, we're very, culture comes from these group dynamics. So we're creatures of culture, right? We need to belong to a culture. So sometimes we ask ourselves to, we just understanding that we are herd creatures, and we do survive best when we're working together. That's our history. Now we have this potential for more isolation, this potential to be alone, and still survive. But there is an interconnectedness, like our food is still coming from the group, our safety still comes from the group, our housing still comes from, other people's labor we just don't have to interact with those people directly. But this card usually talks about, and I want to hit on this, the people we surround ourselves with have an effect on us, and it can't be helped. It's part of our survival instinct to fit into whatever group we're with. That's why people that are often coming out of addiction issues and stuff like that, they need to find a whole new friend group, and this 12-step programs can support that and can provide that more positive influence, because the current group is going to pull them back. Being alone, being solo, creates a vulnerability with those types of issues. And so being very intentional about how you're moving forward, and being very intentional about the influences you choose for yourself. But so there may have been so being careful about the influences that we have, and this is like bad influences, but there can be good influences. So just being intentional about that. But there might be some bad influences from your past, or some bad It's just about how other things, we're not just acting independently, we're acting in conjunction, right? We're not just like these independent things, we're all part of this sort of larger tapestry of life. So if some other thread is being pulled someplace else, that can have an effect on us, that can pull us back in. So, but I feel like this memory, maybe of who you used to be, or of other experiences, past experiences, are having an influence on how you're acting. And if we want to just read this as a sentence, having an influence on your inner balance. So you may have some learned behaviors that you learned from your family, or that you learned from prior experiences, and it's having an effect on your balance. So this balance card here is about wanting to rest in balance, right? As birds are trying to, especially a larger bird like this, sitting on a wire like that, it can take them a moment to like, the smaller birds have a bit of an easier time, but this is like this trying to find some sort of balance out of a situation. But it seems like you might be being thrown off balance frequently by past memories that have a strong influence on your ability to maintain your equilibrium in a situation. So short story, you may be being triggered and it's throwing you off balance because of past experience it's not current experience. Yeah, memory just having an influence on your equilibrium right now. Anything else for Libra? Everything for Libra. Okay, we're going to put, oh man, I don't even know how to make this decision. I'm going to put those over there. Okay, first one out, touch the sky. Imagining what it would be like for something to be more real, more in reality. So being in two worlds, maybe this is even the memory part. But she's sort of kind of fishing in reality of like what would possibly happen. So this is a sense of being in two worlds and dreaming about maybe communicating, dreaming about what it would be like. So we have like maybe sort of test balloons of communication going out where the bulk of it remains behind the scenes. There's sort of just a testing vibe here. There's definitely a lot being withheld, but there's sort of a sense of trying something out. And maybe it has to do with this memory too. Like you don't want to go all in on something because you remember what's happened in the past with that. So it's influencing, you're not jumping in with both feet here. You're putting a toe in the water of something. This red garden also can talk about memory, and this is really funny because this card is all about memory affecting how you're seeing something. So, right, she's got this, like, she's looking at the past and it's very much affected. She's changed. Her heart's ready for the future. Like, her head and her heart are looking in two entirely different directions. Her heart's ready for the future. Her heart is... right, both of these ladies have these little birds on their shoulders. This one definitely speaks to me of heart chakra, just being green like that. And this one is, communications that are withheld. So there's a sense of part of you is ready to move forward, putting your toe in the water of some new waters, but your mind is still very much affected by something in the past. You've grown, you've changed a lot. And you may not be able to see it because you're so focused on what happened in the past by these memories of what happened in the past. You're very focused on that, so it may be very difficult for you to actually... Your heart, though, is very future focused. Your mind, your vision, what you're seeing, you're looking back at the past, and you may be in some ways horrified at what happened back there, at your own behavior back there, or at, not even that you did something bad, but that you allowed an experience or something like that. But you've changed so much, you've grown so much, but you may not be seeing that because there's still just such, like, there's this kind of horrified feeling about what happened in the past. And it's red garden, And it's talking to me about memory and how you've changed and your heart's ready to go. But look, we have this red, red, red. And she just sees this red warning signals, red flags everywhere. The whole landscape seems to be red flags. And she's very much looking back. And the red flags almost seem to have created a red visor over her eyes so that everything looks like a red flag. Then we have listen. So we have this having receding, but listening to what's being said, listening to what's not being said. This can help with the red flags, but seriously, everything can look like a red flag. I think of red flags, like we all have red flags. It just depends on our own choices and our own decisions over whether that's actually going to flower and become something real, or whether it's just going to be something that someone, it's a quirk and it doesn't actually destroy your life. It's just a quirk that somebody has or a relationship has, as this little quirky thing to it. And then we can always look back. Oh, wow. They'll look at all those red flags back there, but it was the other person's choice whether that was going to develop into a full-fledged issue or whether they were going to be able to deal with and at least just kind of maintain. Like we've all got some things that could, if we allowed it, flower into something pretty disastrous. But this is about listening. This is about building roots too, through that listening. I feel like there's something sort of below the surface here, and we're listening to something below the surface. This is also meditation and a quiet period of quiet growth to build the structures that are going to actually push us out into the future, into this more open, vulnerable space, right? This bird is ready to go forward. We're playing with a little bit of vulnerability here. We're playing with emerging, but there's still this like being, look at how they're, so we could see this as like, no, I want to go like this. Right, this little tendril coming up out of this like quiet space of very personal and private growth, and this little tendril sort of experimentally moving up into the more vulnerable sky, the reality here, and wanting to move up there. So there is a sense of wanting to move into more vulnerability, the heart being ready, but there's these memories, these red flags back here, and that are strongly influencing your choices and your decisions. So, oh, I love seeing this one. Okay, but there is something. I want to say all of the words at once because these cards all came out together and they all seem so interrelated. So let's talk about this one, the art of seduction. This is mismatched intentions. Nobody here is wrong. One person may be looking for a more long-term, more committed situation, and the other person is just here to have a good time, to play around. They're in the moment. They're playing around. The problem is when these two don't communicate their intentions, and then this one feels hurt, this one feels harangued and harassed into some sort of long-term commitment they never thought, they were never expressed an interest in, and this one feels like this one's just playing games. So, but the truth at the core of this is there's just mismatched intentions. It's not wrong to just want to play or, just enjoy the moment, enjoy someone's company. And it's also not wrong to want something more serious or more committed. So this can also be related to work too, right? This whole situation could be related to a prior work situation where, your employer just do your job, that's fine. And you're thinking like, I'm going to work up this ladder. I'm going to work really hard and then I'm going to get the next level and I'm going to get the next level. So neither of these people are wrong. They both have what they want. The only problem comes in when there's not clear communication. And also then this one may recede and may want to go away because if they're looking for something longer term and that's not available from this, then they need to move on. And this one may want maybe enjoying these attentions and enjoying playing with this person. And so they may, and both parties have they may, not want this person to know that they're just here for a good time. So there might be some mismatched intentions. Communication can clear that up, but communication could also sever the tie, right? It's not wrong for an employer to just want an employee that just shows up and does their job. And it's not wrong for an employee to want to get up to the next level. But this employee could end up staying here for a much longer time than is useful. And this employer's enjoying that this employee just wants to show up and is doing such a great job. Oh my gosh. But they're not going to get the reward. So there's going to be some disillusionment that happens here, and then moving on. This one's getting what they want. This one's not getting what they want. So, but there's mismatched intentions. It's not wrong of either party to want something different. It's just, but it is wrong to hide those intentions in hopes of getting what you want once you're aware of them. So, so there's some mismatched intentions, and this could be, somebody could be ready. Some party could be, that's really interesting. So we're going to take these all together. There is also Eva here. Something's not quite as it seems. So this would match the mismatched intentions here. Hidden intentions. Somebody may want something different than what they're letting on here. One of these parties, like this employer, may just be really enjoying having an employee come and devote so much of their time and self to this like job in hopes of, they're hoping. And so this one may want to continue the facade to get what they want. Or this one may want to continue the facade of just, oh yeah, me too, I'm just playing around. But they're getting something out of the situation, even though their hopes are for longer term. So so the employee may be, or this could be the employer really trying to get, this employee just wants to show up for the job, and this employer wants them there for a longer time. But something isn't as it seems here, and it requires further investigation. So, and it may seem like the intentions are mismatched, but we won't know without further investigation. So Eva's in the garden. This could also be some sort of side piece or something like that, like they actually have their eye on something else. But there's something here that looks like a flower, but is not actually a flower. Like, look, he's kind of distractedly playing with something else. It's not a flower, it's a snake. So, and it's just, Eva can be about lies, about deception, but it can also be about just like not perceiving something very clearly, which is what I'm getting with this mismatched intentions. So there's a sense where something needs to be investigated more clearly. But again, there's like red. There's all sorts of red flags here too. And then we have, oh, sunny day. Somebody here has quite a vision for the future. And I feel like it's this entity right here. They have the vision for the future, but they're the only one seeing it here. They're the only one with that vision. They've experienced some grief, and yet they still hold on to some hope. But this person is the only one seeing this, and they haven't shared the vision. They're just off kind of on themselves, having a vision of the future. There's one entity here that has no vision of the future whatsoever and is just here for the moment. And there's one entity that definitely clearly has a vision for the future. Of course, roles can be reversed. Gender doesn't matter here. But they may not be sharing it, right? This is a very private vision. They're feeling very private about their vision. Again, we have this like privacy. This could be you with the vision and this privacy here. And you're just stepping the toes into the water, which is probably a good idea given that these two cards came out. Just experimenting here. This could be talking about an imbalance in the situation, imbalanced, trying to seek balance, but there's maybe imbalanced intentions. And there's this Eva, there's something deceptive about what's going on here. And it could be self-deceptive, and it could be unintentionally deceptive. House of Flowers here. There's this interesting, it doesn't seem to match the rest of this. There's something very mundane here that pops out. There's support. House of Flowers is just this like expressiveness out of something that's this explosion into something that's been very boring and very very solid. This is a really beautiful card, actually. It talks about like inspiration coming out of our daily life. It talks about something very solid and very reliable, also having a beautiful expressive element to it. to me, it also talks about balance, balancing the practical with the joy and the explosion of life here. So there's something very, very beautiful here. This sort of garden kind of intruding, this beauty sort of exploding out of the mundane, and this garden sort of intruding on routine here. All right, well, Libra, I got lost a little bit there. Let's do just one of these. We're just going to split the deck, pull this card. Don't let the past hold you back. We were talking about that with memory here. It's really interesting because there's this, someone has a vision for the future. The other person doesn't share it. There's something that isn't quite what it seems here, though. But then you're also getting this, like, don't let this past hold you back. This memory that's influencing your balance and equilibrium. These red flags that your mind keeps seeing, even though your heart's ready for some sort of explosion here. But there's a lot of needing to withhold. And then we have, in the end, don't let your past hold you back. These memories of things, these red flags, these memories that are influencing you. And maybe it's don't let them hold you back from exploring further, of trying to uncover what is the flower and what is the snake here. Why isn't this what it seems? Anyway, don't let your past hold you back. South Node. We know I love South Node, North Node work. However you've operated in the past isn't how you have to operate in the future. You're free to change how you move here. And just because you've made a commitment in the past, or just because you've done something a certain way, doesn't mean you have to continue doing it. It worked so well. I always like to use the analogy of, you drove the car to the airport, it's now time to get in the airplane. Very different modes. They're both transportation, they're both moving you forward, but one, you were in charge of it. You had to fill up the gas, you were in charge of maintenance, you were in charge of steering the whole thing. The other one, you're not in charge of a lot. So those metaphors aren't like perfect, but it's just totally different modes of transportation and moving forward. So just because you got to the airport in the car doesn't mean the rest of the trip's also going to be in the car. It was just to get you to this point, and now it's time to change your mode of transportation. So that's what don't let your past hold you back. And also this memory thing. And maybe this is part of the memory. This is part of what's caused the grief here, is things, the lies you've experienced in the past, the mismatched intentions. And there's a sense of turning your back on that and turning towards something in the future. Just because you did something, or just because you have had this experience, doesn't mean there's not something better for you. All right, I hope that was helpful, if that made sense and resonated with you. Join me over on Vimeo. If not, I'll see you guys in a while. Happy holidays.